Hello! Some people have asked me to go over a little bit of White Palace from the Hollow Knight piano collections. This piano collection's arrangement by David Peacock. And that's what we're going to do in this video. I'm not going to go over the whole piece, but we're going to go over a few bits here and there and how I think you should practice them. Alright, let's start. Alright, so what do we have here? So our left hand... Our left hand is kind of the theme here, and then our right hand is going between sixths, intervals of a sixth, and single notes. So let's talk about the right hand a little bit. So the right hand is almost like leaves or something falling down. I think it should be very soft and have a very floaty, airy kind of sound. So how you achieved that, at least on an acoustic piano, the touch is probably about the same on an electric piano. But on some electric pianos that are not as good, I don't think you'll be able to get this kind of sound. But probably on the good electric pianos you could. So to get that floaty and airy touch, you want to think about not quite going down all the way into the keys. If you think about going all the way down, you get a very heavy sound. So just kind of think about floating on the keys and not going all the way down into them. The hardest part is the sixths. Most people will want to hit those harder. But try to avoid that if you can. And don't have your wrist like bounce up and down so much, because that will only help accent the sixths, which you don't want to do. So try to keep the wrist from bouncing up and down. Although don't lock it. You want it to be loose, but you don't want it bouncing up and down to play the sixths. Any up and down motion you have with your wrist is only to get the fingers to the next notes and not to play those notes, just to get them into position. So for the sixths, try to play it with your fingers and not with your wrists. And I think it helps to have a little bit of direction for these two, so be a little bit louder up at the top and slowly decrescendo as you go down. It's very small, a very subtle thing, but I think that makes it sound pretty cool, like it's something that's falling down or something. One thing that might help with the right hand is to practice it staccato, so very light and staccato. That can help you play a little lighter. All right, let's go to the left hand. So I think it's cool if the left hand has some sort of shape or direction. So for this, so have it have a shape, or make it sound like it's alive. It's growing. Then it's a little softer when it goes down to the A flats, and then we're climbing again. It's growing. It's climbing. So as you climb up, just crescendo just a little bit, not too much. You don't want to have it go out of control. But I think that makes it sound so nice, especially when the right hand is decrescendoing as it goes down. And then to have the left hand getting louder. Here, I'll start from the second line. No, we'll start from measure 3. All right, so we're going to move to measure 9 now. Alright, so there's so many different ways to play this, and it's going to sound good. You could play it how it's written here in this arrangement by David Peacock. So he doesn't write any sort of like tempo indication like rubato or something like that. He doesn't say to be free or anything. So you can play it just straight in tempo. And it's going to sound good, or you could mimic how it is in the original recording from the game. If you remember, or you go and listen to the original recording from the game, there's a lot of rubato in the triplet stuff. It moves, but then it slows down a lot, and then it picks back up, and then it slows down a lot. Slows down, picks back up. So you could do that as well. It's kind of up to you what you want to do, because whatever you do is going to sound good. You could play it straight, or you could play it with a lot of rubato. And in the original recording, a lot of that slowing down and that rubato is happening at the end of every 2 measures. So you'll have 1, so this is measure 1, and then measure 2, and then it slows down at the end of measure 2, and then it picks back up, and then on the second measure here, it slows down again. Something I did want to say is that when I played this, I had a habit of playing it too fast. So I might be still playing it kind of fast here. It might be too fast. You don't need to play it that fast. All right, so from measure 9 again. And again, keep that airy sound that you had in the right hand. Have it be the same for this accompaniment part here. And I guess it does switch to the right hand. So still have that airy sound. One thing you might notice I'm doing, if you're listening closely, is that I bring out the low notes more than the rest. I think that just makes it more interesting than if you were to play all those notes the same. When I recorded this piece, I always struggled with this part. See, I accented this G. I don't know why, but I struggled with it so much. It might be my piano. My piano is very, very metallic and very harsh. If I was on like a well-maintained, like 9-foot Steinway Grand or something like that, I probably would have no issue. But yeah, I find this left hand so hard. D, da, D, da, D. It needs to have, at least I feel like it needs to have some direction as it goes down. And also this octave, you don't want to hit it, but you want to go into it slowly. Yum. I think I'm tightening up my arm too much. I need to keep it loose. Finally, it's there. So I think it sounds nice to have some direction as you go down. Dee da dee da yum. And then to slow down a little bit before you hit that octave. Yum. Also, it's pretty cool that it goes into major here. So it is okay if you have just a pinch more sound just to give it that, like, oh, kind of sound. So here, of course, we have a melody in the left hand, so you need to bring that out. It's going to be the higher note, so not the lower F, that's just harmony. And again, this G is part of the theme, not the E flat. The E flat is just the bass, it's just harmony. Slow down a little bit, then back up to tempo. I had a little mistake in there, but right here, you need to do the best you can to bring out this G. This G is part of a theme. D. This is measure 22, then measure 23, and here as well. You need to try to bring out that B here. So bringing out specific notes like this, or it's called voicing, just think about putting more weight on that note than the other fingers. Okay, so here we finally have the main theme, I guess, of this piece pop in. So this theme is actually a little bit similar to the Hornet theme, a little bit. It's not exactly the same, And then the hornet theme. So it's a little bit similar. I think they are kind of based off of each other somehow. So in the left hand, well, this applies everywhere where you have these eighth note triplets here. Try to think about rolling the hand a little bit. It applies for the right hand as well when you have those. So kind of roll your hand along with the notes. It's just a very slight rotation motion. Getting back to the right hand, for leaps like this, you don't want to do this everywhere where there's a leap, but in some places, like here specifically, think about this like it's hard to do. Like you're reaching for it. Don't make it sound easy. Try to make it sound a little bit more difficult by reaching for it. And again, think about how the melody can be shaped. So D, yum, ya, di, yum, ya, di, dum, ya, yum. I'll probably talk about this in another video, but almost think about how there's micro dynamics within all this, even though it's only marked pianissimo right there at measure 25. Think about that there's smaller dynamics in between every note. Crescendo, and then a little diminuendo, diminuendo, just a little bit. Little crescendo, then a diminuendo going into that D, crescendo, so that's kind of what shaping is. It's like adding very small microdynamics in between everything, although that might be a little bit of a too complicated way to think about it. If you just think about singing and try to sing the theme, often your voice will sing it in a very natural way where it sounds good, and you'll be adding those microdynamics and stuff kind of naturally without thinking about it. So although singing can make a lot of people uncomfortable if they don't sing all the time, do try to sing your piano stuff out loud and see how it goes, because sometimes that will change how you approach playing the piece, and it can improve how you play it on the piano. All right, we're gonna go for measure 37 now. So this is basically just a repeat of the main theme we had, but it's very, very slightly different. Nice. I like when it goes to this F minor. It's so good. It's gonna sound nice if you're kind of suddenly softer there. So this is measure 41 that I'm talking about here, where it goes to F minor. You have the A flat in the right hand. So you have all this. I'll start at the beginning of the theme again. And then softer. That's going to sound so nice if you're a little bit softer when you reach measure 41, because the piece briefly goes into major. And it sounds so happy, but then it goes into F minor, so it's dark again. So it's like it tries to be joyful, but then it gets dark again. It's a very common composition tactic to go from major, like F major, and then suddenly it goes into F minor. And then the opposite is also pretty common too in music composition, where it goes minor and then suddenly major. So it's cool that it's used here too. And one last thing about this section starting at measure 37, the left hand, it's pretty much the same as we had before, but instead of it's now bigger arpeggios. So I would think about those as like little swells. So little crescendos when you go up, and then little decrescendos when you go down. Softer. So this is measure 44, 45. So the left hand has changed a little bit. It's still kind of the same idea, but it's changed a little bit. The pattern changed a little. So still, you need that floaty kind of sound. Don't dig into the keys. I do recommend that when you're learning it for the first time, do kind of go down into the keys just to learn the notes. But then after that, you need to think about how to get it lighter and very, very fluffy, a fluffy type of sound, a floaty kind of sound. And again, think about reaching here again in the right hand in the theme. Read. I think this is my favorite part of the piece. The way it like grows is so cool. So not much is going to change here from the very beginning of the piece. The left hand, the bass, is still going to remain the same. The same ideas that we talked about before. But this time the left hand is having to play a theme as well, so you're having to arpeggiate the bass and jump up to hit the theme. So you have to be quick with these left hand arpeggiations. So you got to get the bass, and then you have to play that theme on top with your thumb. Dee dum. And I think right here in the right hand, ya dee da dee da dee. Bring that first note out a little bit. And then fall in the right hand. the right hand needs to take that theme. So it has a C there, a C whole note. So you need to bring that note out. Just put more weight on this finger rather than the thumb on that E flat there. And then right here, this is the very last measure of the page. This is page 83 in the book. So this is measure 60. So you have a D that you need to bring out. And then the left hand takes that E flat. So I hope that's clear, that you have all this ascending D, this ascending line, and then the right hand takes up that ascending line, and then the left hand comes back to play the last note of it, which is an E flat. So you do have a lot happening here. You have the falling right hand, dee da dee da, but then the big strong bass, and then you have that ascending theme. So there's a lot happening there, and you got to pay attention to a lot of stuff. So let's hear all this together one more time. Alright, so good. So I do have to end it right here. I do need to go and teach someone in about half an hour. But I hope there was something to learn here. I think a lot of the stuff we went over today kind of applies to the rest of the piece. Please let me know in the comments below if these kinds of videos are helpful or not. My goal is not to teach you how to play notes in these videos. I assume that you can figure that out on your own. My goal with these videos is to teach you musical ideas, how to make the piano sound nice, and also some of those little technical things that we go over, like in this one, for example, we went over to roll the note for those arpeggios. Alright, I need to go, but I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.